Right now at 5, Missouri's governor signs a new utilities bill into law, but not everyone says the impacts will be positive.
And we got a pretty decent start to the day again. The temperature's not too bad. We have that cold front coming through. We'll talk about that. The forecast gets you out the door coming up.
Plus, a new partnership aims to give Franklin Tech students a full ride pathway into tech careers at Pitt State.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday. It is April the 10th. We're one day away from Friday, getting closer to that weekend.
And certainly are.
It's going to get a little chilly between here and there, but still not that bad, really.
Not bad at all.
I'm just ready for it. I'm not ready for 90, 100 degree temperatures.
Right, humid.
But yeah, I don't want any of that. But I am ready for longer stretches of the nice mild periods. Get outside, get some stuff done. Get a few things done. And today's not a bad day except for the wind. You want to be careful out there. It's going to get breezy once again. Let's start with that look outside though. Downtown Pittsburgh, we've got mostly clear skies. We still have some clouds here and there, and that's how the majority of our Thursday is going to go. Is just mostly clear. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin also looking pretty good this morning. Into the afternoon we go. By noon, as you can see, winds are already out of the northwest across the entire area. So that cold front will have passed through. Now, again, for us, it's not going to do much, and it's not really going to do much initially today either. We're only going to be a few degrees cooler as we head into the afternoon. The biggest thing is, yesterday we had the gusty south winds. Well, today we'll have gusty northwest winds. That's really about it. It'll be tonight into Friday that we'll start to notice a bit of a change from this front. Right now, though, looking great. 48 in Joplin, 50 in Pittsburgh right now, and across the area. Some of us a little cooler than where we were yesterday, but still not bad. We've got upper 40s and low 50s across the area as we start our day, so could be a lot colder. In fact, as you remember, earlier this week, it was a lot colder. Kids getting on the bus, upper 40s, most of us. Winds should be calm. We'll have partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, and by this afternoon, mostly clear skies, so just a few clouds here and there, about 74. Those northwest winds now gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour, and they will remain gusty through the day today, tonight, and into tomorrow, and we're looking at our highs right around the low to mid 70s for most of us, with skies also clearing as we get into the evening and overnight hours. As I mentioned, this cold front has a bigger impact tonight into tomorrow in terms of at least temperatures, but it's a very short-lived impact. We'll go over all the details with you in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. Well, a tractor-trailer crashes late Wednesday evening on I-44 over Downstream Boulevard near the Missouri and Oklahoma border. The tractor-trailer was teetering on the edge of the roadway, about to topple into the grassy median. Evidence points to the male driver most likely experienced a medical emergency. Now, he was rushed to a Joplin hospital. His current condition is unknown. A female passenger was not injured. Sergeant Jared Delzell confirms that the Joplin Police Major Crash Team is investigating the collision. Well, Missouri's governor signs a law that supporters say will strengthen the state's energy infrastructure and opponents say could increase your bills. Well, the bill signed by Governor Mike Kehoe covers a wide range of electric utilities issues. Now, one aspect of the law will allow utility companies to charge customers for the construction of new electric generating plants, potentially raising electric rates across the state. Now, the Consumers Council for Missouri estimated that electric customers could face an additional $1,100 in annual charges under the legislation. However, the governor says the law is a major step forward in strengthening Missouri's energy infrastructure and supporting long-term economic development. Well, Pitt State and Franklin Technology Center have announced a new partnership to support future technology professionals. Now, starting next year, 10 Franklin Tech students each year will receive full tuition and fees to attend PSU's Crossland College of Technology. Now, the scholarships are renewable for 2 or 4 years, depending on the student's program. Now, the partnership also includes ongoing support events and promotional resources to encourage student success.
Began to be talked about last August, and just a tremendous opportunity for some young people that maybe college and a technology degree would have never been possible. So the opportunities are amazing, and we're excited about this.
School leaders say this collaboration is designed to build a stronger, more affordable pathway into tech careers. Well, President Trump announced a 90-day pause on most of his previously announced tariffs going into effect. However, KOAM's Lonnie Walton found that some residents are preparing for whatever happens next.
Get a handle on things. If we don't continue down the path that Trump has us on right now, we are going to end up seeing a lot of persecution in this nation.
Tammy Brown is a business owner in Webb City. She says she understands tariffs aren't fun, but she says no pain, no gain.
So we're doing the things that we need to do to adjust right now. But again, we have to look at the long-range benefits.
And while many think these benefits in the long term will help, Treasurer of Jasper County Democratic Party, Austin Reed, says the approach is all wrong.
I think that while he says that this is like short-term pain for long-term relief, the short-term pain is going to be longer than what he says it is if his goal is to reshore manufacturing and if he actually does.
Austin says if the tariff situation doesn't settle down, things could get worse.
I think there's a possibility that he's trying to deliberately put the country into a recession. I'm much more inclined to believe that his intentions on things that he does are negative, and if he puts the country into a recession, that allows people like Elon Musk and people like Mark Zuckerberg to kind of go on fire sale on cheap stocks.
Meanwhile, Brown, who is also a business owner, is preparing for changes.
Prices going up, well, they've already gone up. We've had to make adjustments for the last 4.5 years, and it's constant adjustments in my home, it's constant adjustments in my business because all the supplies have gone up.
Reporting in Jasper County, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, we mentioned that the president extended the period before most of the tariffs go into effect. However, tariffs on China are still slated to happen as scheduled. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball square up for the second meeting of the season. We'll have the details. Plus, visa applications may face more denials as the Department of Homeland Security ramps up efforts against anti-Semitism. And Chris will have a look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern baseball have played once so far this year. That was an 8-4 Gorilla victory in Joplin a couple of weeks ago. Well, yesterday, PSU hopes to clinch the best-of-3 season series. Gorillas at home versus the Lions, riding an 8-game win streak. And in the first, Dagan Brewer lines this one to left. Hayden Dyer comes home to score. It's 1-0 Pitt State. Got the same score in the third until Drew Bugner launches this one to right, and it's out of here. And the PSU lead grows to 3-0, but the Lions come clawing their way back into the fourth. Chayton Beck drives one to straightaway center. It is gone. Southern now leads 4-3. In the bottom of the fourth, Pitt State has runners on the corners with 2 outs, and Alex Rogers steals second, and the ball gets away. Connor Allen comes home to score after another errant throw from Southern. Rogers comes all the way around to score, and he started the play on first base. In the seventh, Pitt State up 7-5, man on second, and Brewer laces a double to left center. Bugner scores easily for the insurance run. Gorillas lead by 3, and then Cooper Crouch comes in the ninth and slams the door shut. Pitt State beats Missouri Southern 8-5 for its 9th win in a row. The Gorillas clinched the season series over the Lions for the first time since 2022. Now switching gears to Major League Baseball, the Cardinals finish up their road trip this afternoon in Pittsburgh, hoping to get a series victory over the Pirates. Cardinals and Pirates with a scoreless tie in the bottom of the 6th inning. Eric Fed with a no-hitter intact first. He gets a swinging strikeout. Then on the throw down to second, the umpire initially says safe, but the call is challenged, and after review, Sung Chae Ching is called out. Next batter, Fed strikes out Brian Reynolds swinging. Gets pulled after throwing 6 innings without allowing a hit. In the 7th inning, Phil Maton comes out of the bullpen. First batter he faces, Indy Rodriguez, gets the first hit of the day for the Pirates, but we remain scoreless into the 8th inning. Wilson Contreras pops up the pitch. Indy Rodriguez and Joey Bart collide as the ball drops in. That's a fair ball, and Thomas Sujasi gets tagged out at home by Cabrian Hayes. Big collision by Rodriguez and Bart as Hayes makes the heads-up play. Still no score. So we go to the bottom of the 11th. Joey Bart was involved in that collision. Lions a base hit into right. Lars Nootbaar comes up firing, and his throw to the plate is in time to the out. The Cardinals score the first run of the game in the 12th, but now in the bottom of the 13th, tied at 1, bases loaded for the Pirates with 1 out. It's Bart again. He sends it all the way to the warning track. Wouldn't have mattered if it was caught anyways. He walks it off, and the Cardinals lose a 13-inning marathon to the Pirates 2-1. Meanwhile, the Royals also lose to the Twins. Final score 4-0. This one not quite as exciting as the Cardinals game we just saw. Kansas City gets held to just 3 hits on the entire game. Royals hope to shake this one off and finish the series with a win. The final game is at 1:10 this afternoon. Well, still to come, it's a common screening as we get older, but how do we determine which colon screening is best for you? We'll have those details. And as I mentioned, that cold front does drop our temperatures a little bit as we head into Friday. Details when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this Thursday morning, and it is going to be a pretty decent Thursday out there. Looking great downtown Pittsburgh, and the MoDOT camera at 20th in range line. That's down the road. You know where we're looking. You know what we're looking at. Looking good so far as well. On to the future track, and boy, again, after last week, this future track the next couple of days is pretty nice. All we've got today, just a few passing clouds here and there, so mostly clear skies. We'll clear out with those skies overnight into our Friday. We're looking at sunny conditions tomorrow. Now tonight, as I mentioned, that cold front is going to be gone, is going to be through the area before noon today. And then what we'll notice initially will be the gusty northwest winds. Overnight, those winds begin to shift out of the north, and then we're going to notice it's a little chillier tonight, and it's going to be a little cooler for our Friday. In fact, we're looking to be about 10 degrees cooler still for Friday's highs compared to today's highs for most of us out there. And we head overnight and into Saturday, another clear night, another chilly one. But as we go into Saturday afternoon, we start to see temperatures warm back up because take a look. Now we've got this south breeze out there. So we're going to go back almost 10 degrees warmer by Saturday compared to Friday. And then Sunday is an even bigger increase. We're looking probably at another 10-degree jump in temperatures, but we're also looking at additional gusty winds by Sunday as well. Right now, though, not bad. 48 in Joplin. Skies are clear. Winds are calm. A very quiet start out there. Temperatures this morning, most of us into the upper 40s and low 50s. Got some cooler spots out there. Miami, for example, I think you actually are the cold spot at 43. But outside of that, again, it's not too bad. Bentonville looks to be the warm spot right now at 52. We're going to be starting in the upper 40s, low 50s by 8 this morning. Just a few clouds out there into the upper 60s by 11 o'clock. So we actually warm a little quicker than what we did yesterday. But with the colder air and that northwest wind, we don't go far beyond where we were yesterday. Yesterday got pretty darn warm. We're going to warm quickly into the low to mid 70s and then just kind of level out there. Again, skies clearing as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, and those northwest winds, again, they'll be gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour. Now, those gusty northwest winds will continue overnight. Not as bad, but still breezy, gusting up to 20, and temperatures will drop a little quicker this evening. If you remember yesterday, we were a few degrees warmer by 10 o'clock than what we're expecting tonight. And again, back into the low 40s and some upper 30s will be possible. That's the thing. It's going to get cold tonight. It's going to get cold again tomorrow night as well, but not quite to freezing levels. At this point, we're not looking at getting close enough for any freeze warnings or anything like that, but it's definitely still going to be colder. Breezy again tomorrow. The winds shift out of the north, gusting upwards of 20, low to mid 60s, maybe even some upper 50s. Mild by Saturday, and then take a look at Sunday, another 10-degree jump. As we go into Sunday. Breezy once again, upper 70s, low 80s. Next week, except for Thursday, most of the days, we're not that far from normal as we go into the upper 60s and low 70s. We are still watching those thunderstorm chances for Wednesday and Thursday. As I mentioned, some good news right now. There's nothing on the long-range data that's screaming severe like what we saw leading into last week. But But still, we are in storm season. We do want to keep an eye on it. Otherwise, we're pretty decent from here to there. Let's check your forecast. We are going to be back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, a new study sheds light on how processed foods and diet drinks may increase the risk for type 2 diabetes. Now, researchers in France examined data on more than 100,000 people. Now, they collected the participants' dietary records, then tracked their health for 8 years. Researchers found that food additive mixtures often found in artificially sweetened drinks may rise a person's risk of type 2 diabetes by 13%. Now, for ultra-processed foods, they say the risk went up by 8%. The study was published in the journal PLOS Medicine on Tuesday. Well, you can lower risk of stroke, dementia, and depression by addressing a few common factors. Research says age-related brain diseases share common risk factors, including blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, physical activity, sleep, stress, alcohol consumption, and smoking. Researchers pulled data from nearly 60 previous studies related to brain health and found at least 60% of strokes, 40% of dementia cases, and 35% of late-life depression diagnoses are linked to lifestyle-related risk factors. The study found of the 17 risk factors identified, high blood pressure and severe kidney disease had the biggest impact. They also found partaking in leisure activity lowers one's risk of disease. Researchers say they will use these results to develop a better way of measuring efforts to protect brain health. Well, it's a disease that's increasingly being diagnosed in younger adults, and many times when those younger than age 50 find out they have colorectal cancer, it's after the disease had progressed to an advanced stage, making it harder to treat. But there are several tests that can not only detect this cancer, but potentially prevent it. And some can be done at home. Today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a gastroenterologist about which colon cancer screening is right for you.
Overall, in the U.S., colorectal cancer cases have declined the past several decades. And while it's still more common for older adults to have the disease, the number of people younger than age 50 being diagnosed continues to rise.
Proportion of colorectal cancer in young adults less than age 50 has actually doubled.
Dr. Joel Sameter with Mayo Clinic says several tests can detect and potentially prevent colorectal cancer. Most major health organizations now recommend those at average risk of developing the disease to start screening at age 45.
The gold standard here is really colonoscopy, where we take a flexible tube which has a camera on it. It's inserted into your colon.
Since a colonoscopy is more invasive, Sameter says there are 3 others to consider. First, a stool-based test. It can be done at home. The sample is collected and mailed in. But he says this test is expensive, and if it detects something off, you'll still need to undergo a colonoscopy. Next, a CT colonography. He says it uses X-rays to reconstruct 3D images of the colon. It's less invasive than a colonoscopy and doesn't require sedation, but a bowel preparation will still be needed. Finally, a blood test. It looks for small fragments of tumor DNA when colorectal cancer is present, but he says it's less accurate than other screenings.
The one that the patient elects and actually completes, that's the best test for them.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are starting our day pretty decent once again across the area. Winds are calm, but they will increase as we go through the morning. Another look at your forecast right after this.
Right now at 5:30, election results in Goodman, Missouri have voters wondering what happens when one candidate wins 2 offices.
I got another pretty decent start to the day out there. Not too cold, not too warm. Winds are calm, but change is on the way. Look at that forecast. Get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, it was signing day for one Pittsburgh high school student, but not for athletics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
Chris Warner, it is now Thursday, April the 10th, and we are trucking through the month. And saw this very interesting story from Cake News in Wichita. Mays, which is a suburb of Wichita, there was an elementary school student. He missed the school bus, okay? No big deal, right? I mean, I've missed the bus once or twice as well. But this kid's so dedicated to getting to school, he got into his parents' pickup truck and drove himself to school. He said he was about 10 years old or so.
And he made it?
He made it.
That's
he made
impressive.
it safely, and they said he actually parked better than most people are able to park.
I believe that.
So the police said that because it wasn't a big deal, they're like, you know what, we'll let the parents handle it. But it's interesting. He really wanted to get to school, and I guess, I don't know if that's the way to do it, but whatever.
He'll be a pretty good driver when he's
when he's legal to drive, I suspect he'll be pretty good. And hopefully you've got some pretty good driving skills for today, because we have another day of gusty winds. Let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. It's always, like I said, it's always interesting what you find sometimes and how close to home some of these unique and interesting stories really are. But we are looking good. Skies are mostly clear for most of us. We have a few clouds up north, but even those will go away soon. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking great as well. So into the afternoon, again, the only thing we're really going to notice initially with this passing cold front is the change in wind direction, coming out of the northwest instead of out of the south like it was yesterday. Our temperatures are only a few degrees cooler today, so we won't really notice that so much. It won't be until overnight tonight into Friday that we start to see some impacts from this front. We are cooler this morning as well. Nothing significant though. 48 Joplin, 50 in Pittsburgh, and across the region, the majority of us into the upper 40s and low 50s. Again, Miami right now is the cold spot at 43, and the warm spot is now Bentonville tied with Chanute at 52. Kids getting on the bus, we're looking to be upper 40s, low 50s. Winds will be calm, just a few clouds here and there. By this afternoon, same situation, just a few clouds out there, about 74. But now those northwest winds gusting upwards of 30. And they will do that all day today. They will still be gusty tonight. They will be gusty tomorrow as well. Skies will clear late into the evening and overnight. And our highs, like I said, just a few degrees cooler than yesterday. Most of us low to mid 70s. We are, again, going to see a bit of a drop in temperatures heading into our Friday, but it is a short-lived drop. We'll go over those details and look at that weekend forecast for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, authorities in Kansas say they have identified the victim in a 52-year-old cold case. The victim, who has been identified as Jimmy Allen Dollison of Kansas City, Kansas, was discovered 3 miles southeast of Garnett, Kansas in April of 1973. Authorities say Dollison was around 20 years old at the time of his death, which the coroner has ruled a homicide. Now, Dollison has been identified and his siblings discovered thanks to the results of DNA testing and a national database of missing and unidentified persons. Now, the KBI and the Anderson County Sheriff's Office continue to investigate the circumstances of Dollison's death and have reached out to the public for help. Well, Gerard welcomed Special Olympics Kansas to town for the Unified Bocce Ball Tournament. The event has grown over the years. 90 teams of 4 came to compete, which represented more than 20 different schools or adult teams. Now, like many Special Olympics competitions, the event served as a great way to have fun and sow the seeds of lifelong connections.
Having the adults in the same place as the youth is also really cool to see, like the intergenerational, and some of these students will be going on to these adult teams, so they're getting to build those relationships early on.
Special Olympics Kansas has served the community for more than 52 years. It's a significant achievement to be accepted into the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a dream for many and now a reality for one Pittsburgh high school student. Dominic Bach has been awarded a full academic scholarship to MIT. Family, teachers, and friends gathered to celebrate his ceremonial signing to congratulate him. Now, all those who know Dominic are well aware of his capabilities. They tell us they remain consistently amazed by his relentless ambition and dedication to shaping his future.
He's a teacher's dream because he keeps you hopping. You know, he always comes up with a new idea or maybe a new path
I apply a Dominic mindset or a Dominic mentality to everything that I do, and that means that it doesn't matter what it is or it doesn't matter why you're doing it, you should apply maximum effort.
And by the way, Dominic is the son of KOAM's own Tanya Bach. You can see her right there. Now that means a lot of us here at the station have known Dominic his entire life, and we know Tanya is proud, and we all are as well. Well, it's a race that may have some Goodman, Missouri voters confused. J.R. Fisher and Clay Sexton ran against each other for two different positions, mayor and South Ward alderman, with Sexton winning both races. Now, KOAM's Samantha Walker explains what this means for the city.
This April, officials with the city of Goodman submitted their desired ballot content to the county, as confirmed by the McDonald County Clerk's office. But it's a situation that has the Elections Division with the Missouri Secretary of State's office checking their statutes. The two same people ran for the two same positions, with one person winning both, Clay Sexton.
I'm a lifelong resident, have volunteered for years prior to being on the board when I was first elected in 2020. Once the other candidate had signed up for both and no one else signed up for either or, I went ahead and signed up for both after making sure that it was legal.
The Missouri Secretary of State's office says it would be reasonably obvious that one person should not be mayor and alderman at the same time. If the same candidate wins both positions, typically the position that candidate didn't want would be left open as a vacancy. According to Sexton, Goodman also has a city code that would disallow someone from holding both positions. Prior to election night, Sexton said if he won both races, he would take the position of mayor and nominate someone for the vacant alderman seat.
I do have the choice of which seat that I want, but I want this seat after consulting with my wife and my family and what we think will be best for the town moving forward.
He says it's then up to the board to either accept or deny who he nominates. The seat will stay open until he nominates someone the board accepts.
I want someone that's going to think of the betterment of the town, that's going to be open-minded.
The McDonald County Clerk's office will provide the results to the city of Goodman in a letter after their verification board certifies them on Monday. After that, it's up to the city of Goodman to determine how to proceed because the McDonald County Clerk's office has no authority in the matter. Reporting in Goodman, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Now, according to the Secretary of State's office, there are no statutes regulating what happens if the same person wins multiple conflicting offices. A spokesperson for the office says what is happening in Goodman is the generally accepted procedure. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Well, an old hobby is taking a new life in the form of a support animal. Plus, President Trump issues new tariffs against China. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, the Department of Homeland Security is taking a new precaution when viewing visa applications. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services says it will now view immigrant application social media accounts for any anti-Semitic content. If anti-Semitic content is found, the applicant will likely be denied a green card or student visa. Now, the move comes after multiple students and faculty have lost their visas after protesting the Israel-Hamas war at universities across the country. Well, the U.S. Agency for International Development, known as USAID, has canceled all remaining contracts for humanitarian aid in Afghanistan. Now, the terminations are among dozens sent by the agency over the weekend. Now, this comes as the Trump administration moves to shut down USAID by July. Afghanistan, over the decades, has been rocked by the effects of war, the country's political instability, and natural disasters. The now canceled contracts helped to cover food assistance, clean drinking water, hygiene items, and medical services. Well, 8 people, including 5 children, have died from cholera in South Sudan as they walked for hours in search of medical treatment. Now, it comes after U.S. aid cuts forced local health services there to close. Now, that's according to the UK-based charity Save the Children. The deaths last month are the first to be directly attributed to those cuts by U.S. President Donald Trump. A cholera outbreak was declared in South Sudan last October. Well, this is the big one, 12:01 Eastern time, This morning is when new tariffs on imports from dozens of countries took effect. Now, they include an additional 84% bump for Chinese goods after President Donald Trump's retaliation battle with China. Now, that country already is responding by vowing to, quote, fight to the end. Amy Kiley reports Trump and his supporters are celebrating while many other Americans are worrying.
It's going to be legendary. You watch, legendary in a positive way.
New tariffs on imports from almost 90 countries are in effect as of today. Customs and Border Protection says most range from 11 to 50%. Also new today is an 84% bump on goods from China. Add that to boosts earlier this year, and the total hike for Chinese imports is 104%.
This is an economic Armageddon that's coming for the U.S. consumer and the economy.
President Donald Trump says his team is working on tailored deals that eventually could lower some of those tariffs. In the meantime, American businesses have to pay up. Effectively, Trump's tariffs could end up being the largest tax increase in U.S. history.
We are the ones that have to pay the government all the tariffs, taxes, whatever you want to call them.
Most economists say U.S. businesses will pass on some or all of that cost to American consumers.
That all gets billed to us, which we have to bill the consumer at the end.
Trump points out companies don't have to pay duties on American-made products. Experts say the trouble is building factories and changing supply chains takes time and money. And in the end, domestic goods might cost more than imported ones used to.
American families will pay more for food and for pharmaceuticals. They'll pay more for cars and gasoline and clothing, everything.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Officials say Chinese imports worth $800 or less get a pass until May 2nd. The Peterson Institute for International Economics says duties on Chinese goods before the 104% boost averaged roughly 21%. That means now the total average tariff on a Chinese import effectively is about 125%. And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:45 now on this Thursday morning. Started that live look downtown Pittsburgh. Still looking pretty good out there. We still have some clouds, but those will begin to clear on out of here. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. A few more folks on the road as we start to cruise a little closer to the upcoming weekend. Now, again, today we have that cold front passing through this morning. Once it does, we're not going to notice many differences, at least not today, other than the winds shifting direction. They'll be coming in out of the northwest, and they'll be gusting upwards of about 30 miles an hour. And our temperatures, they're going to be a few degrees cooler than yesterday, but not significantly cooler than yesterday across the area. Now, tonight, though, is when it begins to change. The gusty winds continue tonight into our Friday. We're going to be a little colder tonight. Still not a major drop, but definitely cooler temperatures. And with those gusty north winds on Friday, that keeps funneling in more cold air, at least cooler air, and that will keep our temperatures about 10 degrees cooler heading into Friday afternoon compared to what we're expecting today. However, as we head into Saturday, Friday night into Saturday, another pretty chilly night. Could even see some upper 30s here and there, but most of us should at least be in the low 40s. Saturday, though, is a complete reversal. By the afternoon, we are going to ultimately be 10 degrees warmer Saturday than what will be tomorrow. So Saturday's temperatures will be very similar to today's as we continue with sunny skies and those winds begin to shift out of the south for us, which will begin to bring in warmer air. In fact, we even have a bigger jump in temperatures heading into Sunday, which we'll talk about. 48 in Joplin right now. The winds are calm and the skies, at least over Joplin, are clear. Again, a few clouds in our northern counties, but nothing too wild. Majority of us are in the upper 40s, low 50s. We've got cold spot of Miami sitting there at 41 this morning, and our warm spot now is Cassville at 53 degrees. So not too dissimilar from what we saw yesterday morning. There's a little variance here and there. So we'll be about the low 50s as we get our day underway. A few clouds here and there, and near 70 by 11 o'clock this morning. So believe it or not, we'll actually warm a little faster this morning, but we cap out a little earlier, which is why we're not going to go into the mid to upper 70s like we saw some of us do yesterday. We'll be in the low to mid 70s today. Skies will continue to clear into the afternoon and evening. And again, those northwest winds gusting around 30 miles an hour. Northwest winds continue to gust tonight, upwards of 20. Clear skies continue. However, we do begin to fall back a little quicker. We were still in the 60s by 10 yesterday. We're going to be a few degrees cooler than that. And eventually, like I said, our lows tonight, low to mid 40s. As we head into our Friday, we get that 10-degree drop where we're mostly low 60s, could be some upper 50s, and that leaves that colder night Friday into Saturday. The south winds, though, return on Saturday, so the warmer temperatures climb in. Gusty south winds heading into Sunday. That really warms us up near into the low 80s in some cases. Once we get beyond that, though, temperatures next week, not bad, 60s, 70s. We are watching those thunderstorm chances Wednesday and Thursday. And as I mentioned before, you know, if you remember last week, we knew several days in advance about that severe potential last Wednesday because there's just a lot of data indicating it was going to happen. There's nothing screaming severe like that for the storms next week. But as a reminder, we're in April, we're in storm season, so we'll keep a close eye on them as we get a little closer. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, emotional support chickens are all the rage in knitting circles, and it's a pattern being sold by a local yarn shop in California. Joy Benedict shows us how an old art form is transforming into more than just a creative outlet for people.
This is the neck and it works downward.
Through a cast or a cable, the click of the needle is quiet among the chatter inside this shop.
You go from one sleeve to the other.
As Jacqueline Camacho puts her hands to work as she's done for decades, knitting.
It's one of the things I love to do the most.
But on Sundays, you'll find her here at the Knitting Tree LA for the weekly potluck as a traditional activity of one becomes a flurry of fiber-fusing fingers, all creating at once.
I love the social commodity of it. Also, you learn when you come out, you get inspiration from others.
The art form may be as old as time, but the reason to cast on is changing.
It's calming.
My husband says it's a good stress reliever, which is why he encourages it.
Mental health in every purl.
It keeps me sane. You know, there's t-shirts that say I knit so I don't kill people.
Annette Corsino opened the shop more than a decade ago.
Oh, you found some.
But what recently put her on the international yarn map is a pattern for mental health. But it is a little foul.
What do you do with an emotional support chicken?
You hug it, duh.
Her emotional support chickens are taking flight to knitting circles all over the world.
Oh, this is Chikira. She's one of our newest ones. Chikira. She didn't know that she could collect like this.
From Britt Henry Spears, Glenn Hinda, or even Beyonce, there seems to be a pattern for everyone.
The pattern has been translated into 5 languages.
So in the last year and a half, the Knitting Tree has actually sold more than 30,000 patterns for its emotional support chickens to 60 countries around the world. And as for kits, they've sold more than 5,000.
We have no mysterious warehouse in the sky. We don't have that. Each ball of yarn is rolled up by our employees.
All packaged to perfection. All you need is stuffing.
I know, it's cuckoo.
Just crazy enough to get the attention of the young and young at heart.
I absolutely love the chickens, especially the one with the bow tie.
Giving knitters an outlet they need and an outcome to hold in a world where we all could use a little mending.
We're so sad for her.
Joy Benedict, KCAL News.
How fun. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, rugby supporters were left stunned in Toulouse, France last Sunday when a parachutist was blown off course and found himself stuck on the roof during a pre-game display. The French Air Force parachutist, who was part of a stunt to deliver the match ball, veered to the side and ended up dangling with his parachute stuck on the roof. Firemen intervened to rescue the airman with Le Parisien, saying the parachutist received an ovation once back on the ground. Well, a baby chimpanzee was welcomed at the Sedgwick County Zoo in Wichita, Kansas on Monday after being born by a planned C-section. The newborn chimp was named Cyanza after a peak at the Manahel Mountains National Park in Tanzania. Now, it was the 4th birth for Mahale.
Oh, certainly a very unique birth. Very cute little monkeys there. They're a lot of fun. Of course, if you get time to visit a zoo, we're going to have some pretty decent weather to do so over the next well, several days at least. All right, we're going to start in the low 50s, near 70 by 11, just a few clouds here and there. But that cold front pushes through this morning, so we're going to see those northwest winds pick up, and they're going to start gusting upwards of about 30 miles an hour, and that's what will ultimately stop our temperatures from warming any further. So we'll actually warm up quickly this morning and then level out in the low to mid 70s. Overnight tonight, clear skies continue. We'll have no clouds. That's the expectation. Low 40s, so a little chillier, and those northwest winds gusting to 20. As we head into tomorrow, though, we got about a 10-degree drop in temperatures. North winds gusting upwards of about 20, 25 miles an hour. Low 60s, but it's a short cool down. We warm back up into the weekend. Low 80s Sunday, and we're watching those storm chances by the middle of next week. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.